find he does the same thing time and time again. He's going to approach evangelization and he's going to use common sense. That's because the Bible itself speaks of us. This is all biblical. It's that we as evangelizers are scared to use it. Because what if you were going to talk about God and you talked about human love and eros instead? You'd be Christopher West, who fills churches. His whole talk is about how awesome sexuality is. And then he says, that's the love of God. And people fill everything. The guy's a complete success. And he's touching tens of thousands of lives. Because he starts, modulates it to where they're at. Talk to me. Give me feedback. Are you understanding this? Mm-hmm. Why do you suppose people don't do it then?
Because of the expectations of maybe your whichever bubble you grew up in.
Yeah, it's easier not to, or almost an attitude of pride when approaching someone. Like, I don't need to adjust to you. I'm going to tell you how this is, and you can either take it or not. But never, really loving the person. It's just, this idea of showing them they're wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The fear of being misunderstood, which goes along with that.
Mm-hmm. How do you overcome that? Let's suppose you were mentoring Vincenzo. He's going to start his bar, and he's like, I want to stay faithful to God, but I want to reach out to the ganja gang. Gang ganja. How would you mentor him? Do it real life here.
Vince, don't smoke weed.
How am I supposed to reach the weed people?
I mean, you have to have a bar where they can come in and they can be themselves, but at the same time, know that they're cared about, regardless of what their habits are or what they're doing.
So play Bob Marley music and make the place real smoky?
No. You could play music.
How is he going to find the line between content and formulation? Because you could so formulate it so well. You could have Bob Marley, you could have free ganja, you could have in the name of Christ. And people are like, no, then you've destroyed it.
It still has to be the word. It still has to be truth. So if he strays from the truth, then it doesn't matter how much it's formulated.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if his content, if it's all formulated around truth, around Christ, then he's going to cross that line.
Mm-hmm.
When his interest or his focus or whatever becomes more about being accepted by them rather than accepting them and bringing them to Christ.
Wow, that's an interesting way to find that line. Is your focus to be accepted by them or to accept them? That's really cool. I like that. That's really awesome way to put it. Because the evangelizer wants to be accepted by them, and that's where the danger is.
Mm-hmm.
You have to kind of have a certain... I think you have to keep your purpose in mind. Vincenzo's always got to go back to, wait, why am I doing this? Because you're going to get so many influences, including from your investors, to formulate things in ways that you wouldn't have thought were in line with your focus. And you're going to have to constantly go back to, wait, what is the purpose of this thing? Because eventually, the fact that we can connect becomes more important than why we're connecting. I think you guys are seeing it. And I also want to drill home that point that you said, why aren't people doing this? And you said, because of the reaction of their bubbles. And that's the first step. Once you say, I'm here to evangelize, then it's almost like you're in a different register. And few people are actually even willing to accept that. So you're going to find your particular idea is going to be pulled on by the left. Dude, just go all the way. That's where the kids are, So we should allow smoking in the bar. If you draw that line, you're basically saying you're excluded, Because, I think, didn't Colorado pass the law you could smoke weed in a restaurant?
I don't think so. No, I don't think they'll say in a restaurant. They might say in public facilities, but I don't think it'll be restaurants.
So, you're going to have people saying, no, you should totally allow that. And you should have those little things. If you're shooting up, then take a safe syringe. These dispenser things, you can take a syringe from there. Why not put some contraception right on there? Because you know that they're going to do it anyway. And you're going to get all that stuff because they're right on the bar. You're helping out, And then you remember that Jesus Christ condemns that activity. And so if you support it in the name of being close to them, you're actually denying him. And there'll be tons of justification. Oh, no, dude. You're not denying him. You're showing love. You're showing mercy. Pope Francis said you can do it. All kinds of crap. And you're going to have to be strong, but intelligent in that strength of being able to say, we do it in a different way. You see? That's what the value of this. And it's going to be the same everywhere we go because you guys are being formed to be missionaries, not to be functionaries. And the missionary starts with that mentality, I've got to reach them. And that balance is how and why am I reaching them? And I can totally compromise the fact that I've reached them. It's like the Knights of Malta just got in trouble because they were trying to help poor kids, whatever, who don't have books. But then they were giving money to groups that funded contraception, distributed contraception. Well, wait a second, you're Catholic. Why are you doing this? It's supposed to be to bring them to a different messaging. And you compromise that messaging. So on the one hand, you talk about life, and on the other hand, you give death. So on the one hand, Vincenzo, your bar is a place of hope, and then you're feeding hopelessness. You use a safe syringe. Because at least you're safe that way. Kill yourself safely. No, don't kill yourself at all. And no, I'm not going to be a part of it. Even though you could act kindless, it seems kind to put condoms out there on the thing. That is something that's the culture of death, and I'm not having any part of it here. If you want to kill yourself, then you kill yourself in your way. I'm not going to be a part of it, and then whitewash it for you under the name of mercy. But you see, you're going to pay the price there. You've got to be in charge of that messaging and really focus yourself on why you're doing it. Because otherwise, both camps, then you have the other ones that are like, oh my gosh, you should not be playing Bob Marley music. Don't you know that he worshipped the king of Ethiopia? Or no, the king of, what was it, the king?
I don't know.
I think it's Ethiopia, actually.
He was an Ethiopian Orthodox at the end of his life, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
he got converted, and it's because, you know how that happened, right? The Rastafarians think that the Messiah is the king of Ethiopia. I mean, it really is dumb. And then you hear people acting like it's a cool religion. Like, it's really, they seriously worship a man who's the king of Ethiopia. And so the king of Ethiopia, who's a Christian, said, I feel so bad for these people. And he sent an archbishop to Jamaica in order to tell them that he wasn't the Messiah and to work with them. And this archbishop had planted himself. And for 25 years was with them, talking to them, and converted Bob Marley before he died. Mm-hmm. That's why he became an Ethiopian Orthodox, because that was the archbishop that went over there. It's a cool story I read about on the web. Mm-hmm. There's an example of evangelization, but he had to get there first. He had to spend time. He didn't plant himself. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have the same tendency. You can't be doing this, you can't be doing this, you can't be doing this because you're betraying the content. And you're going to be like, no, it's a formulation. And there's a line. You can formulate so well that you don't say anything. You can have everything to say so well that you never communicate it. Communication is content formulation.
So it's kind of like the line that we were talking about for the church with doctrine and the messaging of how to do that doctrine as well. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like that. Yeah. Yeah. I personally think a lot of it will be done by you setting a different cultural paradigm. Mm-hmm. In other words, if you do a typical sports bar, it's going to be really hard
But if you were to remove it and do like an Irish pub, where already things are tilted in your favor, at Irish pubs you don't expect, lewd women to come dancing around. And you don't expect TVs that are mega on the sides of the wall. It's an Irish pub. You expect music, and you've tilted it. It's kind of like when working with different types of musical genre. 9 o'clock exactly. Different musical genre. You guys are so heavy. And I discovered, I think that you can't Christianize the blues. I don't think you can do a Christian messaging through the blues. It's a stance that I have. I can alter it as time goes on, but it's where I'm at right now. Because I think that intrinsically it's tilted so dramatically that it's impossible to use it to convey the gospel message. You might be able to eke something out of it. But it's not. The blues are not just a music that's talking about things that are hard. It's a music that's passionate in a very... it's so darn physical. It's so hard to elevate it. And I think as we think about the messaging, a lot of that is going to be how you position it to begin with. It's the same thing in your relationships. So you're trying to evangelize your friend, who's totally pro-choice and, a practicing lesbian. So you can start off by trying to talk to her real nice about stuff, but you're almost starting off on the wrong foot. And if you just tilted the discussion from a whole different angle, you suddenly find doors opening. That's like a little secret to overcome. Sometimes it's not in a conversation that'll be happening. It'll be an activity. It's like, okay, I want to evangelize you, so I'm not going to say anything. We're going to do something together. An example of that would be like, you say, hey, there's an event happening at my church. You want to come? You didn't tell her anything about Christ. You didn't talk to her anything about lesbianism. You just invited her to have a wonderful, joyful experience in a different context. See? So now your messaging, your formulation is a lot more powerful because you've just come in at a whole different angle than what they were expecting or where they're from. So it's just a little secret for you. Because that balance between content and formulation, that's going to be constantly where you guys are going to be struggling in all of your different apostles. If you want to be effective, you've got to reach them and you've got to bring the truth. Sometimes these are just at such an impasse because you're set up wrong. The kids don't want to be in the classroom and you're forcing the class down them. So no matter what you say, they're not going to listen to you. No matter what you say, they will not listen to you. So you have to immediately see that and be like, I'm going to do the same thing in a whole different way. Let's do an art project. Let's do a service project. Catholic Heart Work Camp every year has 8,000 teenagers that have adoration, confession, daily mass. What do? They go build houses. So now they have 8,000 teenagers that they're evangelizing because they said, no, it's not about doctrine and stuff. It's about service. And they're getting this messaging given to them because they rephrased the argument. Eagle Eye, 800. Catholic Heart Work Camp, 8,000. That's the way it is. Okay, you guys get it?
Uh-huh.
So what I want you to look at is the handout I gave you. This is from Fides et Ratio. This says what we just went over.
You didn't give it though.
This says what we just went over, and it says it in a lot more of a technical approach. I want you to read it so that you see that this is not just stuff we're making up. This is actually very substantial. Paragraph 5 and then paragraph 81, 82, 83. Paragraph 5 is the best because it totally gets you fired up. And then 81, 82, 83 are very technical. But I want you to read them because here you have a lot more of content. And this class was a lot more formulation.
What does Fides et Ratio mean?
Faith and reason.
Cool.
Rod says Fideo.
Bubble Bob. Ganja Greg.
Ganja Greg.